Cool, it's the NWC Show, episode 64, and if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Aaron, and I'm on the YouTube channel WrestlingByWooldridge. Just make videos about wrestling, obviously, where I analyse different matches. Kind of up in the air at the minute about what I'm doing, but yeah. I'm these introductions, man. I don't know how to introduce myself.
Your channel's great. I love watching it. It's the one that I always kind of go to, especially your new series, the kind of analysing matches, which is really fun. Honestly, it's a different way of taking it because obviously everybody sees a match differently, and it's just cool to kind of look at it like that. But I mean, your content's great. If nobody's checked you out yet, which obviously I don't know where they've been since your YouTube channel put exploded for like. Well, it still is. It's been like, I don't know how long they've been doing it.
I'm just teetering on the edge of 400. I've been like one away for like the past week and a half. So it keeps like going down one and then up one.
Oh man, don't even get me started. I hit 200 at SummerSlam, and then it took me back down to like 190, and then now I'm at like 193, and I'm like, just give me my subs back.
I was like, I better not make a Twitter post and be like, oh yeah, I've reached 400 subscribers, and then it just drops 10, and I'm like, oh.
Man, so the reason we're here is to talk about wrestling. The last thing you were on was episode 41, so it was like 3 months ago. Obviously, there's been a ton of stuff that has changed in wrestling, and good and bad, both sides. Mostly terrible, if we're being honest. But how are you coping with modern wrestling? Because sometimes, especially my Raw rants, it's getting really, really hard and trying. NXT has somehow turned into annoying to watch.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster for sure. Like, I think since I last come on here, every week, one show's good. I always change which shows I think are good and bad. It's just so up and down, if you know what I mean. I mean, Raw is always down. But when it comes to like NXT or AEW or Impact, don't know what it's going to be one week to another, or SmackDown as well. But yeah, to be honest, at the minute, I think AEW is really one that I am really into. But the others, I am struggling a little bit. But
and it's weird. The last time we done this podcast, the both of you spent a huge chunk of time kind of bullshitting about AEW. Obviously, they're not doing everything great. They are doing some things better than others. But every Wednesday and Friday now, or when the pay-per-views, I'm excited for the pay-per-view coming up.
It's just feel good, isn't it? It's just good television. It makes you feel excited about wrestling. They don't. It's not like WWE where they're like, "Oh, we're not pro wrestling. We're sports entertainment." AEW, we are pro wrestling. And where they're bringing in all these guys. It feels like they're bringing in a new guy every week. So, yeah, it is exciting stuff. I don't want, I'm not crapping all over WWE and Impact, but yeah, AEW are doing a lot right. Not perfect, but it is good.
And it's so weird because obviously when we were coming up younger back in the day, as I always keep saying, because we're old men now, but coming up and watching wrestling, it was just it felt like must-see TV every single week, or even like into when the internet was still kind of starting to come up more, and you had like dirt sheets or like MySpace and stuff. You were trying to check. I don't know what was it, Bebo back in the UK when we were younger instead of MySpace, but you would check like the results and stuff like that. You'd want to see what was happening. Recently, honestly, I've just been really struggling. Last week I done my kind of rowing challenge and I got to miss Raw, and it was the best week of my life. Honestly, I didn't even see it.
Well, when I started on my YouTube channel, obviously my first series was top 5 wrestling matches of the week, and to do that properly, you kind of have to watch the shows because it's a bit of a cop out if not. So I was watching Raw, everything WWE were doing, AEW, Impact, and it just burned me out, man, because some of the shows are just so hard to get through. It's like, oh my god, I know.
I don't know. I just think, especially with Raw and WWE themselves, are just making so many silly mistakes that are easy to fix, like Brock Lesnar and Becky Lynch coming out. The Becky Lynch thing is just it's stupid, but them coming out and then going to SmackDown, you're like, you need them on Raw. Who's Bobby Lashley going to face now? himself.
Drew again. Drew hasn't been in the title picture for ages. It's been like a month.
Please don't. As a Scottish person, I'm saying don't put Drew in there. Like, I don't know. I'm a very proud Scottish person, as most Scottish people are. But it's so embarrassing to see what they're doing, like the Claymore thing and stuff like that. Like, Scotland has weird heritage stuff. Our national animal is a unicorn, but there's a reason behind it, and it's mostly just to spite English people because that's what our country normally does. But it's like you've got the Claymore stuff. Look what you got to bring out next to Haggis. Or like you look at Nikki Cross and you've got her dressed as a. Oh, don't even get me started, man. I'm like, what are you doing? Just.
Yeah, like I do respect Nikki Cross for what she's doing. Like clearly she's gone out there to try and impress like Vince and the officials to get on TV. So all credit to her. But yeah, the gimmick, it's not great, is it?
Man, I always say like it's cool to get on TV and stuff like that as well. But like in anything in life, you don't want to sell your soul to get ahead. You're getting that TV time, but are you just ruining it because people are just going to be like, oh, that's that super. Look at the Hurricane from when we were younger and Mighty Molly Holly. Like, they were just typecast. There's just, that's the superhero people. They can't change.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, with Nikki Cross winning the title, hopefully she won't just be, oh, I know now she's lost to Charlotte, so maybe she'll be pushed down hard. But
that title run as well, man, that was embarrassing to watch. Like, it was just, like,
title,
and then you've got Piper Niven, who's a great wrestler, and she's called Doudrop. And our first, for the next 6 weeks, it's going to be the same match against Eva Marie. So we've got that to look forward to. And I swear to God, I'm like, this is making me dislike Scottish people. Like, we're really good at wrestling, and this is terrible.
Man, I am sick to death of repeat matches, man. I can't do it anymore. It's the same match every week on every show.
I was reading a thing earlier, and it was like, I think Raw has 35 active male or 36 active male wrestlers and 13 female wrestlers. And I'm like, it seems like they've got like 6 active male wrestlers and like 3 female. Yeah. I'm like, who's the 13 female wrestlers? And then, I don't know. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah. Like, that's what I mean. Like on SmackDown, they say, it only looks like they've got Sasha, Carmella, Zelina, and Bianca. I mean, no Lynch is on there. But, they've also got Toni Storm. Where has she been for the past few weeks? They've got Mia Yim. Where has she been? Shotzi and Tegan are just in a constant feud with Nia and Tamina. It's like, oh.
And the what's her name again? Natalia Neihart. With her, she comes out wearing red, like red and black. It's like just wait, but then like Tamina's got pink and black on, and I'm like, just change, yeah. Like you always wear pink and black. Just wear pink and black. That's all we know. We just want you to be a part of the Heart. Don't Neihart just become like set the Heart Foundation up for women or something. I don't know. Do something. You're just there.
It's a good idea, man. I like that.
Like good ideas. There we go. WWE just will never do that because you don't want to do that. Man, what's your thoughts on NXT? Like, I don't know if you've seen last night's one. For me, it was a struggle. Like, I don't know. Because they're always talking about this rebrand that's coming up in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm like, why do I care?
Ever since that was kind of announced and there's been a bit of turmoil, I just haven't been able to get into it, to be honest. I did watch last night, but again, and it was a pretty good show, but I think it is just knowing that it is going to change and that uncertainty. It's like, and I think the fact is, like, us as fans, we've been burned so many times now. Like, why should I be invested in someone like a Cross, for instance, and the character they're using, when he's just going to go up and they're just going to change it completely? Like, and it's happened so many times. Bobby, great one on NXT, ruined. Nakamura, underwhelming. It's just such a shame.
You brought it up, so I need to bring it back to Karrion Kross, man. What was your thoughts when he started out on Monday with that mask and the cross? And all I could see was, obviously, from what I do in real life, is those meetings, and somebody's went, Karrion Kross, give him a cross. And I'm like, oh shit, why have you done that? That's all I can see.
Honestly, I first, because I'm not going to lie, man, I did not watch Monday Raw. I was just like, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to watch these reviews. I'm going to watch Anthony's reviews on Rated R, and that'll do it. But I did see the picture, and I first thought, "Well, that's T-Bar from Retribution, isn't it?" And I was like, "Oh my god, this actually Karrion Kross." Oh man, it looks ridiculous. What are they doing?
It's like they just.
You know. Oh, sorry, man.
Sorry, there you go.
I was going to say, you know, for the man Vince McMahon, he created the Undertaker entrance and all. So when you've got an entrance like Cross, which is probably the best that's come along for a long time, why are you stripping that down? I don't understand it. You're a company that, you know, you're sports entertainment, aren't you? Are you taking away the entertaining part of his entrance? Yeah, I don't get it, man.
Especially, he's coming out with Scarlett, who looks incredible. He's walking to the ring. He looks like a champion. He's got the woman. He's got the belt. He looked cool. Obviously, he got bet by Samoa Joe. Then he heads up Monday Night Raw. We're going to give you a mask and a cross, and you're like, oh, but you must just be like, why? Why am I doing this?
Yeah, honestly, man, when Cross first showed up with Scarlett Bordeaux, I mean, I was into him, but I couldn't get fully into him because I knew that they would eventually be split up. Because that's what happens with everybody. They just don't like a woman being paired with a man now. Rusev and Lana didn't last. Andrade and Zelina didn't last. They just don't like it. They're going to turn Scarlett into a wrestler. I don't know how good she is, to be honest. I haven't really seen much of her, but you know, if she's not that great, it's just going to be same old again.
It's just, I don't know. It's just like they're so scared to like it's okay for a woman to be a manager. Like, just that's fine for it. I feel like they always want to just have like these main event. Like everybody has to be in the main event. It's like no, everybody has to be the next Rock. People can be Al Snow. Do you know what I mean? Like they can be that mid card. And I know there'll be people listening to this. It's like, oh, Al Snow's like a great wrestler. He was a great wrestler, but he wasn't the Rock. Like he wasn't selling like truckloads of merchandise. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's just I don't know. Like that's one reason I think that at the start I was a wee bit like iffy with AEW is we have been just kind of kicked in the balls so many times. Like by WWE, it's just like you like this guy. No, you're not getting him.
Yeah, it is such a shame because, you know, it's just like NXT is a great show. Like, the wrestling is still probably maybe the best wrestling show out there in terms of pure wrestling, and they have they got great guys in there, like Pete Dunne is great. You know, everything they're doing with Hit Row and Legado, I love those two factions. So it is good, as you say, burned before, so never mind.
I think it's more just like they keep saying, like they've announced that there's a rebrand, and we've all kind of felt that something was changing over the past 2 months maybe. It's been NXT, but it's not really been as good as what NXT would normally be. And then we started seeing people like Bronson Reed getting let go, and you're like, what's going on here? And then now you're just like, why?
That was ridiculous. I'm a big fan of Bronson Reed, man. When I saw he was released, why? I don't get it.
See, the worst thing is with that as well is like, obviously, I love Bronson Reed. I think he's in like the cage match that he had. I literally thought he was going to get the NXT title. That would make more sense. And then it was like he's away, and I'm like, he's so cool looking. But at least now we can still kind of follow these guys via like Twitter, find when they're doing matches and stuff. But if we're all going to be honest, we're not sitting watching like a 150 people independent show in like, I don't know, some middle of nowhere town in America. Like nobody's sitting watching that on a Friday night. You know what I mean? You'll get the big shows because that's what gets, for us doing YouTube, that's what gets the clicks really. That's what gets people to come and see. You're not going to be like Bronson Reed wrestled in Australia. You know, nobody's going to be like, oh, I can't wait to see what's happening with him, which is so shit because as much as people hate WWE or AEW for some people, you kind of need to go to those companies because that's where the money is.
Exactly. You get the exposure, don't you?
So man, last time we bullshitted as well for about 20 minutes about how AEW was massacring Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on what they've done now?
What with Impact?
Aye.
I really like the switch to Christian for the title. I posted a tweet the other day where I say Christian's that one night of Christian was better than the whole run of Kenny Omega. Because it was, man. Kenny Omega, I couldn't believe he just bought Impact so low. Like, weren't. I think I could see you weren't into Impact either. Yeah, just weren't doing it. So having Christian in there hopefully should bring him back up again.
I'm on board with you there, man. They made Impact just seem so like shite. Like
Second
it,
rate.
I.
Right.
And it was so
Yeah,
awkward because they were like, "Oh, we're starting Rampage," and it's like, "What about Impact? What are you doing to them?"
yeah, man. I don't understand why, like Scott D'Amore, the people who run Impact, you got nothing to say about this. Can you not see what we're seeing? Like AEW never mention them on the shows. Yes, right. And we never see any Impact guys go. I know we got the Good Brothers. They kind of feel like they're actually on the AEW roster now. So I'd love to see like a Sammy Callahan go to AEW. I know someone like that. Josh Alexander show up. That would be great.
And I
But
think eventually Impact's just going to need to merge with AEW into it. Like, it's the only reason people have went back and watched Impact is because Kenny Omega was there. I didn't like his title run, but it's the only reason people are paying attention to it. Obviously, Christian's there again, and then he's got rid of the TNA belt, which I'm like, just change your name back to TNA. That's what everybody knows he is. Nobody really remembers Impact because that was normally the weird bit when Hogan came in and started that.
let's hope Tony Khan sticks his hand in his pocket and just buys them.
It,
I'll rebrand them TNA.
the sad thing is that it probably would be better than what they've been doing recently. And again, they have been having good matches. The X Division's always been good, and it's good just now. But it's like, what's the point if your champion's going to this other show?
I think they need to get out of that studio, man. I don't think it's doing them any good.
Aye.
As soon as they got fans back and they stayed there, it was like, it's a bit underwhelming. So yeah, just start touring again in smaller arenas. I think that would be a lot better.
I don't know, man. We impacted since they done the AEW thing. Like last year at the pandemic, they were doing insanely good shows, like good matches, and people were coming in. But then I don't know. It just kind of feels like obviously you've got like Big Cass or what is it, Morrissey, whatever he's called just now. You're like, eventually he's got to beat Christian. He'll be the champion. It's like so easy to tell where it's going, and it's just kind of you're just doing the same mistakes as she's done every 5 years. They're like stuck in a cycle of just going, oh, no, what we're going to do? Let's get other people in.
Yeah. They've got a lot of New Japan guys in there at the minute, so like Jay White's about, isn't he? Which I was very happy to see. I'm a big Jay White fan, so
Man, see, I like Jay White, but again, I always say is if they know their audience, they know it's wrestling fans that are watching Impact. It's not for the casual wrestling fan.
so
But again, it's somebody else from another company coming over. And like you've got the potential to have those stars right there in your company. Build these guys and have them then like Jay White coming in and being like, I'm going after this other person, even though we all know that you want us to see being Omega. And it's like, just going to stop doing the tongue in cheek stuff. Like wrestling's so simple. Just come in and go, I want to fight you, but no, just now I'm going after this guy. And that's it. So simple, tells a story. But instead of from like, I'm not mentioning this guy because
yeah.
Japan says no. And it's like, oh, calm down. Not a Disney.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man.
And I have like this poor, just recently as well, like, see, especially with WWE, because they're doing so much stuff that's doing my tits in. I don't know if you've noticed it in my reviews. It's just like when something shit happens, I'm like, I'm not watching this. I'm skipping this. This is like NXT last night with the promos and segments. And they always have that, like 3 matches in the middle are always squash matches.
Mm-hmm.
I watch the start. I know it's good. Like so, it's like 1 minute later, and then I'm like, right, cool. That's a squash match. That's who won it. Right, that's fine. I'm not wasting my time.
But NXT followed pretty much the same formula every show. You get a 15-minute match to start off with, then you get like maybe a promo segment, and as you say, you get the 3 squashes, then you get like another promo, and then you get the main event, which is like also a long match. But yeah, always that. So I know there's always like a 20-minute match to begin the show.
See, that's where the rebranding comes in when they're going to change it around. We'll get the squash to start, and then it'll be the 15-minute match. That's what they're talking about with the rebrand. Man, so we've been moving around, not really moaning about it as so much, and it's my favourite topic to rant about because it's so fucking shite to watch every single week, and it's Raw. Like how you coping with it, man? How you coping with Lily, the Undertaker doll thing?
I mean, as you say, man, as I said, I did not watch this week's. That's what it's doing to me. I feel like I don't have to anymore. But it's just repeating all. Yeah, every match is a repeat. You know, you get the odd one good match in there. But yeah, as you say, the Lily as well. I'm going to be honest. I skip it every time. Every time I see that she's going to be in the segment, I skip it because I don't want to watch it. I read about it, like what happened and stuff, but it's just. I mean, it kind of works in a no fan situation, where you can do all the special effects and stuff, but no, it's just ridiculous. And I've listened to a couple of podcasts, where they have like Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie at SummerSlam, and they've got Lily as a big deal. They've got guys like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, Tony Storm, all these other people that aren't even on the show. It's just crazy.
And something that WrestleMania UK brought up when they had them on Friday was they don't have the IC title. They didn't have the IC title on SummerSlam. I thought, well, obviously, apart from the wee thing when they came out and played the guitar, which is just like you do the guitar stuff, but you didn't just cancel that segment and the water thing to use Lynch and Belair, which would make more sense. But he was like the IC title wasn't on SummerSlam. I totally forgot that it wasn't there, and then I'm like, so why is I don't know, from probably that's just from when we were watching wrestling. Every title kind of was pretty much always on the line when it came to a pay-per-view. If no on the line, it was like there was a match that led to the next pay-per-view that had that there. But the IC title again just feels like it's just like, who really cares about that? And then the US title as well. Like I know Priest has got it. I love Damian Priest, but again, who really cares? Apparently, he's in the main event picture now, which is so awkward. Like,
yeah, well, what they've done to Apollo is ridiculous. I don't understand what the guy has to do. Like, he was absolutely on fire with his, like, when he debuted that character. But yeah, it's just saying, like, gone are the days when in the Continental and the US title meant something. And these were mid-card guys that were, they got those titles knowing that after they lost them, they'd be in the main event scene. It happened with John Cena. Batista was there, like the tag team titles, and then he went up and Randy Orton. All these guys, Triple H, Rock, Steve Austin, they all won the mid-card belts and then went to the top. But now, they just get the mid-card belt and then, they're back into KO again, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Yeah, they've just lost all, what's the word? Like prestige. And it's just such a shame about what's happened to those mid-cards. Just get rid of them, to be honest.
SummerSlam was always a intercontinental title, mostly an IC title, like pay-per-view. That's where obviously you had the main event, but if you think you've got Triple H, Rock in that ladder match, I think Austin Rock for the Intercontinental was in at one time. You just had like a ton of good. I think it was Eddie and RVD. They had a match. I remember it was just insane. I think it was 2002 or something like that. But that was.
I think I remember.
It was always like the Intercontinental title matches always stole the show, and then like Austin Rock's feud for it was insane, and that's what led them to do their main event feud. But like you just says, nobody really cares about it, and it does really feel like WWE just isn't for.
Honestly, the last time I paid attention to the Continental Championship was when the Miz had it. This might be quite what's the word? This might not be a popular view, but I think Miz is one of the best Continental champions of all time. Just because when he gets that belt, like I'm not a big fan of the Miz, to be honest. When he gets that belt, he lets you know that he's the champion, and he says he's like, "This is the most important champion." Like, every time he had the Intercontinental champion, he was always like, "This is the most important belt. This is the belt." No one ever does that anymore with the mid-card belts. They're just like a secondary part of the feud, if you know what I mean. Like when it comes to Priest and Sheamus, it wasn't really about the title. It didn't seem, but
I think as well, like you just says there, like it's not about the title anymore. Like the Miz always makes it about the title. Like, even when he was the WWE champion for like one day, it was still fun to see, like, because
Yeah.
it was all about him getting this lucky win, and then obviously getting the shit beat out of him. But Sheamus Priest, I love Damian Priest, but you just know they're going to ruin him. Like, he's just going to be stuck at that mid card. Like, the match was Sheamus Priest. That's a good match, but
It was good, yeah.
The belt, did it really matter? And the belt's horrible looking. Like, it really just looks like, I don't know, something that my kid's going to bring in for primary school. Like, oh, I made this today.
As you mentioned there with Priest as well, like I really like Priest, but like you've just said, it's so hard to get into him. Going off the track record of WWE, like, is he really gonna be pushed to the moon? Is he gonna be the next big main event? I know people have said maybe he'll be the next challenger to Bobby Lashley after what happened on Raw.
I hope he doesn't go after. Bobby Lashley should only be going with Lesnar. That should be the only match that Bobby Lashley should be focusing on, and we should get 3 pay-per-views. The first one that he does, it ends in a DQ. The second one, the two of them hate each other, they beat the shit out of each other, and it's an MMA fight, an actual legit MMA fight or worked MMA fight. That gets double knockout or something, and then whack them inside a cage and let them actually go for it. 2 guys know what they're doing, let them go for it.
Yeah, definitely, man. That would be so good to see, like, a shoot fight. But, you know, maybe they'll do it for WrestleMania. I just wouldn't understand that, because I think Lesnar is going to lose to Roman Reigns. Like, if that happens at Survivor Series, I don't know. But if that does happen, if he loses to Reigns, that doesn't make Lashley look great, does it? If Lashley and Lesnar then fight at WrestleMania, because it just seems like a secondary champion. Like, I know that's what we kind of all think. You know, I don't think Lashley compares to Reigns really, but that isn't what WWE should be, you know.
And I think that's you're booking too far in advance, like Survivor Series there. That match is going to be Extreme Rules. You know they're going to tell that story. It'll be already Extreme Rules, and then Survivor Series, they'll be like, right, let's get somebody else in that Roman can bury it. Like, why? What bugs me is Roman's the biggest guy. Probably the most known name in wrestling at the minute for casual fans or wrestling fans. He's bigger than Kenny Omega. No matter what anybody says, I show my partner a picture. She knows who Roman Reigns is. My kids know who Roman Reigns is, and they casually watch wrestling. Kenny Omega, they're like, who's that guy with the curly hair wearing weird shit?
Reigns is on another level. Like, I know people might argue that, but in my opinion, Kenny's not even on Reigns' level. Kenny is fantastic, but Reigns is just, he's absolutely killing it at the moment.
See, that's what I thought they would do.
Television. Every time he's on TV, I'm just, I'm glued to the screen.
See, that's what I thought they would do with CM Punk, like bring him in to do a long feud with Omega, because obviously Adam Page is away, or have, when Page comes back, him and CM Punk go with each other or whatever, to like build this insanely big star, because everybody knows who CM Punk is. So if he can build somebody, or like Daniel Bryan comes in, whatever. But I love Sting. Everybody knows I'm the biggest mark for Sting ever, right? But AEW, no, the table thing, no. But why is CM Punk going with Darby Allin? It makes no sense. It's like Darby Allin's skinnier than me. Like, I'm not a big guy, but he's smaller than me. And plus, Sting's like, what, 6'1", 6'5", something like that. He looks like so much bigger than Darby Allin. Like, it's like a wrestler next to a dad and a kid going out for Halloween, isn't it? Like, it's just, this looks awkward. And that's just me moaning. I would love to see something is just missing from Omega to make him like Roman size.
I like, because I kind of like what he has done since he's sort of come to North America, because I think what his idea is, he's proven in Japan that he is like, the best fight machine. He can have a 5-star match with ease. But I think what he's trying to prove now is that he can do everything. Obviously, he did the hardcore matches with Moxley, and I think he's doing a little bit more like character work, if you know what I mean. I think so he's trying to prove that he's a man of, he can do everything.
Sometimes it does feel a wee bit like he's trying too much, and then the thing with Roman Reigns is he knows he's cool. Like he doesn't seem like he's trying at all, and that's what I was going to say, man. Is I don't think they need to keep bringing these people in, like Cesaro against Roman Reigns. That's fine. That I was going to say built Cesaro up, but where is he? He's just, they're just sent him away back. Like,
I'm guessing he wants time off or something.
he must be pregnant. No, but see, I'm not being cheeky. I'm just because I said that the other day in a podcast, and somebody was like, "Of course he's no pregnant." I'm like, "I've got 2 kids. I know how children come here, Camden." No, but Roman Reigns doesn't need like a Brock Lesnar or the one he needs is The Rock. They two should do something with
That's
each
got
other.
to happen at Mania, surely. The Rock and Roman.
It's WWE, and you know that. I don't know what they're doing over there. Literally, there's like they bring out Logan Paul, and it's like what we don't. Wrestling fans are notorious. The only person that I've really seen get a good reaction was Arnold Schwarzenegger on SmackDown in like 2000 or something. Like, there's notorious for booing anybody. Like when Floyd Mayweather done the thing with Big Show, and he got booed at the building. Mike Tyson was somebody who always got cheered, but that's Mike Tyson. He's quite scary.
You know, we don't like it, I think, when you get like a celebrity or another sports person come in and they make the wrestlers that we watch on a weekly basis look like idiots. I think that's the thing. That's why I quite liked like Big Shaq's match was pretty good, and Bad Bunny. You know, that was awesome because the guy took it seriously. You know, I mean, they didn't really come in to just promote something that's going on in his life. He came in and he lived wrestling, you know, for the 2 months that he was here or whatever. And I think that's the thing with a lot of celebrity appearances. Logan Paul, you know, it's not a surprise he got booed because.
But it's not even like it's not even relevant. Like when you're Shaq coming in, we've always seen basketball players and like people that come over because like back in WCW they've done the same thing. You've got like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I always remember that one in SmackDown because it was just cool. I'm a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, but it's like it makes sense. It's an action star. But then when it's like Logan Paul, YouTuber, and it's like, you're just doing this for the clicks. Get the fuck. This is so shit. But I don't know.
You know, that's what they are doing. Just for the YouTube, isn't it?
I always hate when people say like as well, they make more money now than they've ever made, and it's like because there's more revenues to make money now. They'll probably make millions off of YouTube, millions off of TikTok. You've got Instagram as well, Facebook. Twitch. They can definitely make more money.
Yeah.
Off these platforms, because back when we were younger, there was TV. That's it.
Yeah, it's not so much about the wrestling anymore, is it, with WWE? It's about the moments. Yeah, it's about the social media, just getting out there. Kind of just how it is at the minute. It's kind of because it's never. I don't think it's ever going to go back to the way it was.
No, man, I don't think we'll ever get our glory days back of wrestling. And people can say it wasn't. Obviously, no, every match was great back then, but the story, and it didn't have to be great. It could have like 5 moves in it, and it made sense. Everything was just over as hell, and it worked even into the Ruthless Aggression era, right up to like 2009, 10, and then they just decided to, when they stopped doing when they went, no, we're going to go full scale PG. Let's ruin wrestling for everybody.
Yeah, for sure, man. But yeah, I don't know. The pay-per-views are still. It's just the TV shows. I think they just get you down. But like the pay-per-views are great now. That they do know how to put on good wrestling matches. You know, the Rollins and Edge the other night was awesome. They say Sheamus and Priest was great. So and Cena Roman was good as well. So the pay-per-views are still have that sort of wrestling. You know, it reminds you of how it used to be. But the shows, it feels like the wrestling just plays second fiddle, obviously.
I don't know why they just don't like. If they're obviously the pay-per-views are always mostly 12 pay-per-views a year. We'll probably get like 10 or 13 pay-per-views a year, whatever the day. We'll get like 10 good ones and a couple of ones that are a wee bit rocky. They're always good with the kind of stuff, but like you say, it's that TV show period just tiding you over to then you're like, this is disastrous, man. But going to SummerSlam what did you think about the Becky Lynch stuff? Because if you watch my review, I hated that shit. Like, you made Belair look so stupid. What did you think of it?
I hated it. I could not believe it. Like, when she came out, I was like, yes, Becky Lynch is back. It's so awesome. But And when they picked it up, she was like, "Oh yeah, you're ready to see a great match." And I was like, "Oh, here we go, we're gonna get a 20-minute match, Becky Lynch Bianca." And of all the people, they do it to Kofi, they do it to other guys, but to do it to Bianca Belair, that does not make any sense to me. She's only been on the main roster for what, like 2 minutes, and you're already making her lose in a 6-minute match. I don't know. I mean, there'll be someone that comes at me and be like, "Oh, trust the process," but it's a shit process.
I'll trust the process, but this part of the process is shit. If it doesn't pay off, it's going to be shit. Plus, if they put her in a match like Extreme Rules, they have Becky against Belair. How can I get invested in this? Like, how can I?
Yeah.
Plus, it didn't even. All Becky could have done is come out and go, "I want that," and that's it. And then we would have been like, "Oh, we need to watch this on Friday or whatever." But it also, what bugs me is Becky Lynch dropped the Raw Women's title to go have her kid, and then come back for the SmackDown. I'm like, that makes no sense. Like, just
it doesn't. It's just WWE wants to shock people. That's all it is. They just want a pop. I really don't think there was much logic behind it, to be honest.
And talking about pops, man, is before we do it, funny story is I was watching Survivor Series early in the morning, so I was trying to get it watched before my review because I was like, I know this is going to be. I thought it was going to be like 3 hours long, so I got up my normal 3 o'clock, and it's like 4, and I was like, it's going to be a trek of a show. There's no need for it to be that long. But anyway, it got to that point, and my partner was in. She was like getting breakfast ready and stuff, and she was like, I was like, "Oh, there's Becky Lynch came back because she loves her hair. Like, she loves the look of her hair." She came in, and I was like, imagine if like she beats her in like 30 seconds, and then it happened, and I was like, I take it back. I please got to just rewind it, take my words back. This can't be real. This is horrible. But so I'm blaming myself for that. That was my fault. But talking about pops, man. CM Punk, how great was that? I shouted like I was dancing like a wee girl. Honestly, I screamed. I was like, "This is great," and I got told to shut up because my kids were in the other room. But it was just.
Unfortunately, I couldn't shout because it was quite early when I watched it. But I don't think I cried, but I know my eyes were watering. So,
man, it felt like wrestling, didn't it? Like it really felt like professional wrestling is coming back. Like,
yeah, it felt like it was always felt like that we've had our one missing piece of the puzzle, and CM Punk, was that missing piece, and yeah, it's just exciting, man. It was so exciting to see him back. I've always said with AEW that the one thing they need to be, to finish them off is CM Punk, and to see that they have Punk, and they might get even like Daniel Bryan. It's crazy, but yeah, just seeing him back, it was so great. And like I listened to a couple of podcasts as well, and they were saying, maybe it wouldn't have been as big if he didn't come back and he had that reaction to the pop. But the fact that you see him and how much it meant to him, and like he was nearly in tears, it was just so great to see because you're like, that guy has fallen back in love with wrestling. And that's just, you don't want a half-assed Punk, do you? You want the CM Punk that loves wrestling and is there for it. So
definitely, man. I think it just felt like it made me feel like a kid again. It made me. The one thing that AEW has done is made me fall in love with wrestling again recently because, like I say, AEW don't do everything correct. The staging work needs to be worked on. Like the Rampage and Dynamite stuff looks far too similar.
I listened to you and Max talk about that, and definitely agree.
I think they just need to do something different. Like, just, I don't know, change the aprons. I mean,
it's not hard, is it?
Like, even if it's just like somebody comes out with like a stencil and sticks it on the middle of the ring that says Rampage instead of from, I don't know, let's change the colour work or something. But it just kind of feels a wee bit. That's the only thing that feels a wee bit down, and obviously some story.
I think they definitely have to find the balance with the amount of people they've got on the roster as well. Like, they brought in 2.0 and they're doing great, but I'm just thinking, did they really need them? Because they've got so many tag teams. Like, I'm a massive fan of like the Dark Order, man. Stu Grayson and Eva Luno, but they're never really on TV. I know the Butcher's out, but Blade and Butcher, love those guys. And I feel like there's certain teams that aren't, I feel like they need to get that little bit of exposure before they start bringing in other teams. Like Varsity Blondes, they were in the picture at the time, and now they're not really. They kind of just seem to bring new guys in, and the old ones stack up in a pile, and we don't really see much of them anymore.
I think the problem with that is as well, like they don't really obviously they promote it a little bit, but not as much as what they should for like Dark and Elevation on YouTube, because you get all those guys over there. But it's even to this day, like I'm like, oh, AEW's doing like good stuff, made me feel like a wrestling fan. Have watched one episode of Dark, and it was because Sting was at the main event of it, and I literally just went fast forward through it, saw Sting come out with Darby Allin, watched the match.
Squash, pretty much. They do have the odd good match, but a lot of it is squash. Yeah.
But then again, it's do you put on good shows on like YouTube? Do you put a good match on? I think Steve just had a bunch of. I had a guy on this podcast, episode 2 or 3, an early episode, can't remember. But he was on AEW and he does a lot of independent shows and stuff like that. But he says the exact same thing. Like it's too many squash matches and too many people doing too much flips. He's like, you should just put on a good match. Like MLW sometimes put up their shows on YouTube, and MLW is doing insane work just now. If AEW can work with them in some way, especially like.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised MLW aren't really a part of like the whole Forbidden Door deal. They've got some good guys in there, man. Like I'd love to see Jacob Fatu on another show. That'd be great. Hammerstone's great, but yeah, I know what you mean, man. With AEW,
it's just nitpicking, and like I've said on every single podcast that I've got you guys back on for, I love wrestling so much that's why I nitpick it. I want it to be amazing. Like I say, I just love wrestling. It's pretty much all I do, all I think about. That's why I started this channel. I actually done it for years, so it's just so cool to like. I just love wrestling. Like I says, it's my favourite thing to do. Talk about, bitch about, and
yeah. Yes, I mean, I was gonna say I feel like we've had like a few negative things to say, but as you say, man, like you said, you've summed it up perfectly. Like it's because we love it so much, and you want it to be as good as it can possibly be. So, yeah, you're always gonna nitpick it.
I always say the thing that's killing wrestling just now as well, especially WWE, is people can go back and watch stuff on the network. Like you can go back and watch Flair against Terry Funk or Steamboat in his prime, and just these great guys that just knew how to work an audience back in their prime. And then you look today and you've got Lily waiting in the ring. You're like, for fuck's sake, can we not go back to that?
Man, when you just said like Bruno Sammartino and Ricky Steamboat, and then you just put Lily next to it, I'm just like, oh my god, that just should not be said in the same sentence.
It just
hurts. At the same company.
When you think about it as well, like this morning I was watching Terry Funk versus Ric Flair when I was in the gym. I love Terry Funk. He's one of my favourite wrestlers, and then you're looking at these guys put on like great shows. I watched the Funk versus Bret Hart ECW kind of match, which was great as well. And then you just look to today and you're like, Dewdrop, Lily, that's disgusting. And we used to take a piss out of this like when we were kids. So you'd be like, oh, WCW's got like this happening or this on a pole. I think it was yourself that tweeted the other day. It was like Paul Heyman on a pole match. And the sad thing is, it's the best love triangle in wrestling. Paul Heyman.
Well, I'll tell you what. When Lesnar did come out, that was my first thought. I was, oh my god, what's going to happen with Paul Heyman?
Man, he's so good. Like that's the best. Paul Heyman when he was singing John Cena's thing, when he was doing like the 10-bell salute for, can't remember who it was, but
that was awesome.
Him and Roman just work so well together. Adding Lesnar into that. If it was me as a booker sitting, which would be probably terrible, the business would be gone in like a week, but I would put Roman and Brock Lesnar as a tag team. Did you ever remember like the 2-man power trip and stuff like that?
Yeah.
When you would put 2 main eventers and just beat the shit out of all these other guys.
Yeah.
But then, was it Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle, I think it was, hated each other and they were in a tag team, but they had to work together. And that would be a cool segment to do between Roman and Lesnar. That if you want to face each other for that belt, you need to work together. And it would just make them poor. Because what's the tag team division doing? You've got the
They'd
Mysterios
murder
and.
everybody. Could you imagine?
But it
Reigns.
would be fun to watch because that makes sense.
Yeah.
In a squash match, that makes sense because Roman and Lesnar could legit hurt anybody. Like, if he's ever in a bad mood, I'm pretty certain. Like, the guy's like a gorilla, he's massive. So, like, I would never. I don't know how he ever got into MMA and somebody was in the other side of the ring. I would shit myself, literally start crying. Like, I like, not, you need, I just lie down, knocked out. Like, take
He's
me
scary,
home. I'm all right.
Yeah. Oh, man, when he came back the other night, I was so happy. I popped hard for that as well. I'm a big Lesnar fan, man. I know, like, a lot of people kind of get sick of him because it's the same match and all that. But he's so good. He's so good, man. For a guy that just, claims he doesn't really love wrestling, if you know what I mean. He's one of the best, for sure.
He's like you said, he's so good, but he knows what he's good at. So he doesn't go and try and do like. I was going to say like something off the top rope. The one time he did do it, he broke his neck, so he learned not to do that. But he knows what he's good at, and I've loved Lesnar since back in fucking. I seen the first match I've ever seen of him was him against the Hardy Boys at King of the Ring, 2002 or something like that. He just ruined the two of them, and then it was Survivor Series him against Big Show when Paul Heyman turns, and then I was like, I'm a huge fan of this guy. Ever since then. And even in his UFC career, I've just always liked the guy, and I love how private he is. Like, he just kind of, pretty much the way I know I talk to people as on YouTube and stuff like that, but in real life, I just ignore people. Like, you can never get a hold of me. Like, my friends phone me, message me, and I'm just like, no, you'll need to, if somebody doesn't like text and say like, I'm coming to see you on this date, I'll set time aside, but I can never find me. I'm away. Like I'm just
man.
Just by myself.
yeah. It's
And so,
I do respect the guy for having that sort of privacy, for sure.
What was your biggest pop then for the weekend? Was it Becky Lynch coming back and beating Belair, or what was your favourite thing? Was it Punk?
Are we not including Punk, or are we including Punk?
We can include Punk. Punk's.
I would say Punk, but if we're not including Punk, I'm not going to lie, man. Edge's Brood entrance. I popped massive for that. I loved it, mate, because I love the Brood entrance, man. So when I heard that music go, that was awesome, man. I love that. I just love the whole Edge Rollins feud. I think Rollins, like, he's turned around for me. Like, I'd say 3 months ago, I was not into him whatsoever. I love him. I love him at the minute. I think he's doing amazing work when he comes out and he's just got his arms in the air, dances into his theme song. Yeah, so I mean, Lesnar's and Becky, as I did pop huge for them, but man, Edge's entrance, I loved it for sure. I bet Scott loved that as well.
The Seth Rollins, when the thing with Sting happened, I just went off him since then. Like, I liked him in the Indies. Then he was all right in the Shield. Like, I'll be one of the guys that wasn't a huge Shield fan. I wasn't watching wrestling as much at that point. In fact, I don't think I was watching it at all. And then when that thing with Sting happened, I was like, this guy, I just can't watch. But he's turned it around for me like recently.
Yeah,
that Brood entrance. The first thing I thought was Christian was going to come out. Like, how insane would that have been? Like, they've pulled it out the bag. They're going to kill him.
Could you imagine if Gangrel and Christian came up with Edge? How cool would that have been?
Just Tony Khan sitting crying over like.
Yeah. To be honest, man, I think because Tony Khan is a wrestling fan, he would have said, Christian, go over there and just give him a hand.
That's what we need, isn't it? But like, that's the first thing I thought when the Brood music started was like Gangrel's going to come out or Christian's going to make his return. Because even if one of them came out, I'd have been.
Yeah, that would have been so cool. But what we got was I love that music, man. It's so good. Yeah, what a weekend! Like, Punk things was amazing. Yeah, let's just say, man, it's just exciting to be a wrestling fan again, isn't it?
I think that as well. It just let us like enjoy it. Like, we all love WWE, even if we say we hate it. It's the thing that we all got into wrestling on. For us, it was we saw WCW, WWF, and then WCW just like die, and then we had only one company because nobody was really watching TNA till they kind of started getting their DVDs in HMV. But it's like I can't stand some of the decisions that they make, but I'm never going to turn my back on them because
Exactly, man. Yeah, as bad as WWE will ever get, yeah, I'm never going to stop watching it. But
like I'm
sure.
waiting for them to have Eva Marie against Lily. Like just I honestly thought they were going to do that at SummerSlam, but they didn't. So I was like, you know what? That's all right. I would have still watched it. I would have complained the whole match, but I would have still watched it because I like to watch stuff like that. It's like when if you see a car crash and you're out driving, you can't no look at it. You want to see what's happened. Obviously, it's terrible to say that you want to look at it, but humans just like to look at stuff that's like awkward to watch.
Sometimes something that bad is actually captivating.
And so heading up to the end of the podcast is obviously people should go check your videos out. Your analysis of the shows are really cool. The matches you've been doing. The word matches just left my brain there. It was like, oh, you're not saying that anymore. But I mean, so where do you want your channel to go in the future? What kind of content are you thinking about starting? I was thinking about going back and watching like now the old NWA, like on like the network. They've got like put like ancient shows from like 79, then starting in 80. I was thinking about doing that, but I'm like, that's going to take too much time. My watch alongs as it is just take up. Because most matches that I want to see are like half an hour long, and I always forgot like half an hour long. But where do you want to take your content in the future, and where would you like people to? We want any recommendations for people, whatever. Your time to kind of shoot and promote yourself.
Cheers, man. I appreciate it. I definitely want to keep going on with the analysis sort of side of my channel because I think that is kind of what started me off, and it's something I really love doing. Just sort of breaking a match down and working out what the story and psychology and everything. And I think because I was doing the top 5 matches of the week situation, but it's just the time on my hands has changed. So that's why I thought I'm going to go back and look at different matches and break them down. Obviously, I also made the CM Punk video, the top 10 CM Punk. So I really do want to try and fit in more topical videos. I'm probably not going to do much like reviewing, if you know what I mean, apart from my under analysis videos. Yeah, definitely keep on doing that. Do some topical videos. Hopefully, keep doing the podcast that I was doing where we like discuss the greatest matches of a certain superstar. But yeah, just that's the plan for now. But I'm always trying to think of new ideas, man, for sure.
Man, I literally when I watch your content, it's the one that I always go to watch first. Obviously, there's a bunch of guys like SCW Steve, WrestleManiacs, GG and Wrestling, DWE. Like there's a ton of guys. There's not enough time to mention them all.
So many, man. Yeah, it is hard, like for sure. I love your content, man. You're a machine. You just put out content with.
My content isn't that good, but it's just me shouting. That's what I always say to people when people go like all the guys that we just mentioned there as well. Anybody like Rated R and stuff like that. Everybody adds in something different, which is so cool.
Yeah, man.
Like your stuff's different from mine. My stuff's different from Rated R's. His stuff different from everybody, and it's just refreshing. Like you can go in a YouTube hole in the wrestling community and never see the same kind of person again.
I do find that really weird. Like you get something different from you, and then like SCW really good with his Q&As. Rated R does sort of a bit of everything. DWE, he's just like so positive. Scott, if you want to go, the old pay-per-views, he's on fire at the moment. And I know I'm not mentioning everyone, and I always feel really bad because there are so many great podcasts and YouTubers out there. But yeah, it is great that we've all got like one sort of bit, and we're not all doing the same thing. If you know what I mean, it is really cool.
For most of us doing the same thing. Like we're all talking about wrestling, and we all genuinely talk about the same kind of shows and stuff. Everything's so different. Like everybody's got a different approach to reviewing. Like mine's is literally bare minimum. It's just me shouting like first thing in the morning at the camera. So I've got it easy. I get to shout.
Yours are so entertaining, man. Like they're just real. You know what I mean? You just give your real reaction to it.
And mostly it's just a 30-year-old bald guy from Scotland shouting, literally going, "Why is that all winking? What the fuck is this about?" But
who doesn't like an angry Scotsman, man? That's great.
Thanks for taking your time out to be on the show. So the final question we always normally ask is if you could replace yourself in any match, I'm sure you answered it for. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. People don't. I've got a terrible memory, but I'm changing it up for the second time. This first person that I've asked this question to. But if you could go see any match in history, if you could sit in the crowd and witness any match in history, what would it be? The one that I've got in my head just now is The Rock versus Hogan, WrestleMania 18. Just to feel that energy in the ring, because it would just be insane. But what would your one be?
And that is tough. Because obviously my favourite match is Michael's Kurt Angle, but as you say, man, the atmosphere would be awesome. The first one that pops to my mind is Shawn Michaels Undertaker first Hell in a Cell. When Kane debuts, oh man, to just be there for Kane's debut in the first ever Hell in a Cell, yeah, that would have been awesome. So yeah, I'd go with that one, I reckon.
Man, I love the Hell in a Cell. I don't know why I didn't say that, but no,
There's so many.
It's been cool chatting to you for the past hour or so. We always kind of talk and cool shit about wrestling anyway. So people should go check your stuff out if they haven't checked it. It's probably my favourite YouTube channel to watch. I listen to your analyst stuff, comment on it, like I says, but it makes me look at wrestling in a different way because everybody looks at it differently, and that's what's cool about what we do on YouTube, kind of bullshitting about wrestling and talking about the older stuff. But I mean, so where do you want people to go check you first? Do you want them to go get your Instagram or Twitter or YouTube or whatever? Where do you want them to go see you first?
I'm definitely more active on Twitter, so yeah, just follow me on Twitter at WrestlingByW. I am on Instagram, but I do post on there when I can, but not as active. But yeah, I am on there. I've only got like 3 followers, so yeah, follow me on Instagram. Yeah, Twitter and Instagram and YouTube.
Cool, man. So what I'll do is I'll end the podcast there, and I'll tell you the aftercare stuff, like when it's gone up, stuff like that.
Cool.